Today we're going to talk about gimbals and why you might want to stop using them so much, or at least think about it. Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and in the channel we do normal camera videos for normal people. So, gimbals, they're getting better, smaller, cheaper, and more fully featured than ever. There's more choice than ever before, and I really wish that anyone that ever submitted a funny home video in the 90s had one. Our eyeballs would not have suffered so much. However, and while I'm a really big fan of overkill is underrated, I think that right now gimbals are being overused and they are overrated. Don't get me wrong, I actually understand if you do need a gimbal or if it makes your work easier. Real estate, videographers, wedding shooters, I think that they are perfect audience for gimbals. And I understand that they are really useful for the current way of doing cinematic b-roll in YouTube. Everything is slow motion, everything is super smooth, everything is super pretty. Then we have, for instance, the underslung, feet walking, cinematic shot, which I'm gonna say that it's a Matti Hapoja shoot. And of course, that is his thing. And mostly he's done it without a gimbal. But if that's the kind of shot you work for, then go ahead and use a gimbal. So if your thing, your signature shot, what makes your video yours, requires a gimbal, then by all means. But then I wanted to choose some bad examples or misusage of gimbals, and it was really easy to find my own stuff. I've been making some no-budget amateur short films, and yes, we use gimbals in those. In Just Waiting for Friday, I used the Feiyutech A1000, and then there I had mounted the Sony a7 III with the Tamron 28-75 almost exclusively. And then for dealing with it, we used the Ronin S, also with the a7 III, and then either the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 or the Sony 16-35 f4. My reasoning to use a gimbal for those short films, excuse really, is that just with the tripod I would not have enough dynamism in the movies, like in the past. But then, if I was not going either handheld or with the tripod, the gimbal was giving me freedom of movement, I could place myself wherever I wanted in the set, and I would have for sure smooth footage all around. Sounds good, right? So what was the problem? Well, in addition to filming, I was also directing, and I was also partially handling the lights and audio, and probably a few more rolls, so that meant that I was just going all the time with the gimbal up and down and putting it on the table and then grabbing it again, and that just became annoying. Then there's the problem of balancing. Balancing a gimbal is a tedious and annoying process. That meant in practice that I was not changing lenses as much as I probably would have liked to, and I relied on zooms way too much. And even if I said that they are getting smaller, they are still not smaller. If you think about the Ronin S with the a7 III, the Tamron 28-75, then the Atomos Ninja 5 mounted somewhere there, then you need some small rig bits and pieces to make it all work. That setup is not light. I know that it's not like a Ronin M with a red camera, never held one, but I'm going to imagine that it's pretty heavy, but still, it's heavy enough that I can start feeling it in my forearms and in my back. Oh come on, even Atola Visuals has some videos about fitness exercises for gimbal operators. So in my case, instead of making my life easier, it was making it more complicated, and it was actually blocking me from doing some things, like changing lenses, or focusing more on the framing, or focusing more on directing, or actually collaborating with the people on set, which is the most fun thing there is when you're making a short film. So with all that said, are the results so amazing and unattainable that you cannot do it without the gimbal? So for me, it wasn't worth anymore. And in our last short film, Project Underflow, I decided to sell the Ronin S and instead just use my balls. And I'm glad we did. I'm gonna have a video talking about them and why they have been so useful instead of using a gimbal. So in summary, if you have the need for a gimbal, go ahead and buy one. If you just want to try it, just get one, it's fine to try new gear. But as with anything that you do or believe in, question it, that's healthy. Does using a gimbal make your process harder or easier? Do the results really improve? What are you losing by using a gimbal? How are you handicapping yourself by using a gimbal? Could the time that you're going to be spending balancing and rebalancing the gimbal be spent in something else which is more valuable? At least for me, I know I'm going to be thinking more carefully the next time I have the inclination to start using a gimbal. So, what do you use gimbals for? And do they get in your way? When the balls video is out, make sure to click and check it, and we'll see you soon for some more content.